Traders at Access Bank expect the bullish momentum in the bond market to linger as the improved liquidity continues to spur investors' appetite. For Treasury bills, the market remains active, driven by continued demand, particularly for the mid to long-dated securities. Daniel Afolabi, the Treasury Team Member at Access Bank, joins me now for a weekly wrap of the markets today. Thank you so much for your time on the show, Daniel. And let's get into how the market has performed this week. What were some of your biggest highlights?
Okay, thanks, Ken, for having me. So this week has been quite interesting. You'd recall that last week the market's liquidity was at around 1.1 trillion. Based on that, there were several activities that the CBN had done this week to try to mop up liquidity from the market. For example, there were two different auctions of OMO this week. We had one on the 26th and we had another one on the 27th. The one on the 26th, they sold about 870 billion. On the 27th, again, they sold another 758 billion. And both auctions quite close at around 21.9%, right, for both for the long end on both auctions, right. So despite all of this, liquidity again still closed at around 619 billion just yesterday. So despite all the actions to mop up liquidity and all of the things that CBN had done, we are still seeing significant liquidity in the system. So this has also informed the action of market participants, where we are seeing bullish sentiment across the different instruments on the bill side and on the bond side. On the bill side, we are seeing a lot of trades are happening around there. For example, the OMO bills are currently trading. Yesterday, they were trading at around 21.6. Just this morning, they've come to about 21. After several hours again during the trade, they came to about 20.5%. For the bond as well, we're seeing the long end that used to trade at around 17.7 just last week Friday, currently trading at around 16.85. So I mean the significant liquidity in the system again is informing the bullish sentiment, and then we expect this to persist because market is already expecting that we've seen the last of the rate hikes.
Yeah, because let's get to other stories that I'd like to highlight here, because one is the 500 million domestic dollar bond offer that's going to close today. Let me get your thoughts around this and how investors are positioned on that front.
Yeah, so it's closing today, just like you rightly said, and for us, we're seeing moderate demand. We do not have, in our opinion, we expect that there should be sizable sale on that bond. I mean, but again, would know by September when exactly and how much was eventually sold. Yeah.
Other areas, the Treasury bills issuance calendar is out. 2.2 trillion auctions expected for the fourth quarter. There, your take on this?
Yeah. So again, where we are now is we are seeing significant increase in appetite, and it's informed by several of the action of the central bank. You recall that sometimes this week as well, the central bank released a circular that essentially says anything above 3 billion naira that wants to be placed with CBN would only be placed at around 19% and before now, those funds can be placed at around 25%. What that has actually shown is that immediately that circular came out, we saw significant drop in the overnight and the OPR rate from 25% to about 19%, 20% under. So we expect some level of moderation going into the next quarter. But again, you are seeing the sentiment, a lot of buying and a lot of bullish activity.
Quite a lot playing out in the space here, but how are investors positioning for next week, and how would you rate the performance of the third quarter so far?
I think this last few weeks has been a little bit different in terms of the sentiments, in terms of buying and selling sentiment. Before now, we used to have several buckets of bullish sentiments, bearish sentiments, but I think this week has been significantly bullish. It's what we then need to look at is how exactly is it going to play out in the coming weeks. Is the central bank going to continue on this trend of moderating the rates as they are? Are we going to see significant OMO auctions? Are we not going to see OMO auctions? So I guess all of these, right, would inform how the market participants interact with the market.
All right, there's definitely quite a lot to look out for going into next week. Daniel Afolabi, the Treasury Team Member at Access Bank.